Welcome, everyone, to episode 7 of Sports Talk with Coach Sywenky. I'm your coach, Kevin Sywenky, Lloydminster product, Lloydminster born. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit of the NHL lockout, week 2 of the NFL, my picks of the week, and previewing UFC 152 that goes down on Saturday. Let's get to it. So, it's here. It's official. The NHL lockout is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. As hockey fans, I know everyone is pissed, and I am too. It's just something that this should not have happened. It's millionaires fighting with billionaires. And I know we want them to play hockey, but everyone wants a fair deal. I know if you were going up against your boss, you'd want a fair deal too. So don't blame the players. Don't blame the owners that much, but even though the owners deserve more of the blame. The main guys, Bettman, Daly, and Fair, have been doing some small meetings ever since the lockout, but nothing's came through it. Really, the only thing that these guys have agreements on is that hockey should be played with a puck. So really, nothing has been said. Nothing is going to happen in the very near future. We have lost now officially our preseason games, even though no one really cares. If you talk to anyone that says, "Oh, I love the preseason," call bullshit on them. Make them buy you a bunch of drinks and a round. No one likes watching preseason hockey. It's boring. It's just the first step of between the with everything being canceled. Next step, we're going to start missing games, and that's going to come up really, really soon. It's going to come up faster than we expect. And if it comes to November time, we could miss another full year of hockey. And that's just something that no one wants. No regular hockey fan wants another NHL lockout season like 04-05. I don't want it. I know the people watching this video don't want it. It's just... And the players can have something to blame, but, you know, this is something that cannot be happening. Really, it's scary, and I'm scared, and if I'm scared, you know it's going to happen. Something major is going to happen. And even to make this even worse, the NHL players are starting to take off to Russia, Swiss League, Czech Republic, just because they want to play hockey this year. I respect that decision, because if you're going to be locked out, you want to play the game that you love playing. And I don't blame them. And they got to stay in shape, and they got to do stuff like that. But should you be in decision-making time trying to get your own league started, not trying to take off to another league? It just seems wrong to me. But if you look at it, I mean, it's something the guys got to do, and I can't really blame them. But I'd rather see them playing hockey in the NHL for us Canadian, American... Well, some American fans. I mean, there's not many, but there is some American fans. Anybody that loves hockey in North America wants to see the NHL back together, not KHL. I don't want to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning to watch Alexander Ovechkin versus Evgeny Malkin in the KHL. That's not what I am a hockey fan. I don't play hockey. I watch hockey. Do you know why I watch hockey? Because I can't play worth a shit. That's just me. I'm a basketball player. That's how it's always been, and how it'll always be. Like I said, Ovechkin has taken off to the KHL. Malkin's taken off. Thornton and Nash are playing in the Swiss League for HC Davos. Plekanec took off to the Czech League, and Jaromír Jágr took off to the Czech League as well. And the crazy thing about Jágr, he's playing for the team he owns. How badass is that? That's some straight-up Jackie Moon shit right there. I have mad respect for Jaromír Jágr. I mean, you're paying your own bills. I mean, that's pretty much it. You're paying your own bills. You don't even have to give yourself a salary. You don't have to sign yourself to a contract. You're there as the owner. You want to play hockey, go hard. That's Mario Lemieux. That's Jackie Moon. You're the Will Ferrell of the NHL, Jaromír Jágr. Jágr, salute to you. The other crazy thing is Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby, if he wants to, if this NHL lockout gets farther than it is, which he hopes it doesn't, for him to go play over in Russia or Swiss League or whatever, a part of his contract has to be $200,000 to $400,000 worth of insurance costs. That's just crazy. That's a crazy number to think that Sidney Crosby just by himself is worth almost over $200,000. That is just crazy bananas stuff right there. Sidney Crosby's head is mind-boggled. And that's the only way you can look at it. That concussioned baby is mind-boggled, just crazy out of it. And the last thing I want to talk about is the NHL lockout is Alexander Ovechkin. This guy has lost mad respect in me for my books. Ovechkin said that if this rollback of the cap and rollback of player salaries is going to happen, that is suggested in some of the proposals that the NHL has given to the NHLPA, he's going to stay in the KHL. He won't bother coming back to the NHL. That's just terrible. I mean, Ovechkin, you are a star in the NHL. I know you're a bigger star in Russia. Good on you. But you're a star in Washington. And for you to leave Washington like that just is not good for anybody. It makes the league look bad. It makes you look like a terrible, terrible, terrible person. I know he's not watching the show, but I just want to get that out there. If he stays there, think about what that does to the Washington Capitals. They've lost Semin. Now they're going to lose Ovechkin. That team has no scoring power left. It's just going to be a disaster team. What can they do? They can't really do much for that team unless they give him like the first overall pick if there's no season kind of thing. But that doesn't make sense. Why would you even do that? Ovechkin, you've lost some respect in my books, and you're going to lose respect in everybody else's books if you do this on yourself. The NHL lockout is upon us, and nothing is going to happen anytime soon. Expect at least some of the season to be missed, and when that happens, we're going to talk about it then. Until now, NHL lockout, it's upon us, people. So, some NFL talk. Week 2 has came by, it has passed, and we got another great weekend of football. This Thursday night game was alright, I guess. I mean, Green Bay pretty beat up Chicago last time. Jay Cutler looked like he's kind of getting thrown under the bus in a way, but that's another thing that doesn't really matter to me. Jay Cutler, he's Jay Cutler. The Sunday was a great list of games. The Sunday Nighter was great. The Sunday games were great. The Monday Nighter was a little slow, and there is a reason for that, but I'll get to that a little bit later in here. The NFL Week 2 was led by some great games, but mainly there's a new number one contender, a great NFL Super Bowl champion in the making in the San Francisco 49ers. They are the team to beat in the NFC right now, and I don't see that happening anytime soon for them to be losing. Unless they play Green Bay later down the road, maybe they stumble a little bit and they after a bye week kind of thing or going into the bye week. But until then, they are the team to beat in the NFC. The other way is the other number one contender for the Super Bowl title would be the AFC team of the Houston Texans. I picked Houston to win the Super Bowl this year. They're looking good. Matt Schaub is back. He's healthy. He's passing the ball. Arian Foster's getting it down on the ground. Ben Tate's doing it as well. This team is set. The defense is looking good. This team is looking on the way to a Super Bowl title. The other things that happened this week, Eli Manning went off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, throwing over for 500 yards in a 41-34 win, which is just crazy for Eli Manning. I know I went up against a guy that had Akeem Nicks, who had 199 yards in my fantasy football, and of course I lost. How can you keep up with Akeem Nicks? It's just when he puts up that many points. It's stupid. And I don't even want to talk about my loss. Dallas came back to reality. They beat New York in the first week, and then they played Seattle, and Seattle whipped them. Dallas put the special in special teams. That team looked terrible on Sunday afternoon. Seattle beat them up, let them down. Russell Wilson looked great. He got a win finally in his career. Good on him. Andrew Luck and Ryan Tannehill also got wins. Andrew Luck beat the Minnesota Vikings, like I said. He looked good, and he's going to continue to look good. This guy is the future of the Colts. He is the next Peyton Manning for that team. Ryan Tannehill, I didn't really watch this game. He did beat Oakland, so that's kind of a thing to say, okay, he beat Oakland. But again, it's Oakland. Good on him. Brandon Whedon also looked good, but he plays for the Cleveland Browns, so he can't say much. Trent Richardson also came out of his slump there after the first week, and he's starting to look like a fantasy stud. If Cleveland actually had a defense, this team would be scary, and they could be scary later down the road if they do get that. RG3, he got denied a win. Straight up denied, and it was a stupid play by one of his receivers, Josh Morgan. RG3 threw it to Josh Morgan, one of his receivers, and Josh Morgan got the first down. They were rolling, and it looked like they were going to get into field goal range and possibly tie this game going into overtime, possibly get a touchdown drive out of it, which would have been great. But Josh Morgan got tackled. Ryan Finnegan, I don't know what his first name is. Carlos Finnegan, something like that. I'm not sure. But anyway, Finnegan kind of pissed off Josh Morgan. Josh Morgan got mad and threw the football at Finnegan. 15-yard penalty. You walk him back. They had to kick a 61-yard field goal, and it got nowhere close. RG3 loses, even though he should be 2-0. Sam Bradford, congrats to you, but you should really be 0-2. The New Orleans Saints, they're 0-2. This defense has looked terrible. They just cannot do what they want. Carolina beat them up. Cam Newton had all day with them. The running game looked good for Carolina, and New Orleans just looked terrible. They really do miss Sean Payton. It's really starting to become a more and more noticeable. And I don't like the way this team is going. They will. The way I said they were going to make the playoffs, I really hope they still do. But you never know. This team is on the downward slope, and they might be in trouble. The Baltimore Ravens somehow lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles continue to win by 1 point, which is good on the Eagles. I have nothing wrong with the Eagles. But to win by 1 point over Baltimore and Cleveland, you're getting by it close. You're getting wins, so that's the main point. But you should be winning more than that. Pick it up, Philadelphia Eagles, or you're going to get in trouble. The huge upset, though, of the week, the Arizona Cardinals. 2-0. Who would have thought to say the Arizona Cardinals would be 2-0, especially after this last week when they were the 14-point underdogs to the New England Patriots? Crazy. The guys came on, they won the game, but they almost lost it. Gronkowski missed a field goal that could have won the game for him. And New England should be steaming right now at their kicker. I would be steaming at my kicker if that was what happened to me. New England should have won that game. The Cardinals got lucky, but they're 2-0. So, and you rejoice Arizona while you can, but you're not making it to the Super Bowl. You're still in a tough division. Somehow, the top 3 teams, or all 4 teams, are 500 or better in the NFC West. Good thing for the NFC West after they've been a joke for a while, but the true division champion will be the San Francisco 49ers. Hold to it, Arizona. You've just got lucky so far. And then the last thing I want to get to. Like I said, the Monday Nighter was disappointing to me. I went to the Canadian Brew House, watched the game with a bunch of my buddies, and it came down to it after the first quarter. A lot of us were going, wow, this game is slow. It's terrible. Like, I don't want to watch this. Partially, I didn't want to watch it because I had Peyton Manning threw 3 interceptions in the first quarter, so I was a little bit ticked off. But a lot of the other people, it was a slow game. And why was it a slow game? The replacement referees. These guys, they're really starting to get on everybody's nerves. The story comes out where one was going to ref a Saints game, but he was a Saints fan. He was going to pre-games and post-game parties and stuff like that. He's going to the tailgate. Second, a guy that was reffing the Philadelphia game came up to LaShawn McCoy and been like, hey, LaShawn, get me some fantasy points here, man. I really need you here. What is going on? Get it straight, NFL. Get your freaking regular referees on this field. The replacement refs are a bunch of high school refs. If you don't know what about this replacement ref kind of thing, here's the best way to look at it. Think of your local hockey league, basketball league, football league, soccer league, and think of the referees that you deal with every day. I'm a referee. I know about this. I ref basketball. This is something that I wouldn't want to do. I wouldn't want to automatically be reffing high school games, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm in the freaking NBA reffing games. That's what these guys are doing. They are high school refs reffing NFL games. Why? Get your goddamn straight referees out there, NFL. Let's fix this up. I'm sick and tired of it. John Fox was about to blow his gasket there, and same with Jack Del Rio on Monday. I'm about to lose it now. I am losing it. Get them on the field. Get the replacement refs off. Get your regular NFL refs on the field. It's it. Get them on the field. I'm done. So now that I've cooled down a little bit here, my picks of the week, I went 2-2 last week. One was because Arizona somehow beat, I don't know how the hell it happened, but Arizona beat New England. And then Baltimore lost to Philly on a fucking 1 point. I just can't. Crazy, whatever. 2-2. Push it out of the way. Let's go 4-0 this week. So, my picks this week, as usual, as last week, I'll have my sleeper, my bronze, my silver, and my gold pick. So, my sleeper pick, I was right last week. This week, I'm hoping to be right. The Cleveland Browns will beat the Buffalo Bills. You heard it here. Brandon Weeden will get his first win. Trent Richardson Let it up again, excuse me. And yeah, we're looking at a good thing from Cleveland right now. If Cleveland's going to win any games this year, it's got one of them has to be here. Cleveland will beat Buffalo. My bronze pick will be the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Oakland Raiders. Pittsburgh looked great last week against New York. Oakland looked terrible against Miami. Look for Oakland to look terrible again. Oakland's will be 0-3 after this week. Enough said. Pittsburgh over Oakland. My silver pick, we're going to the CFL with this one. My Calgary Stampeders, they will beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The streak continues. I will get another $40 from my buddies here. It's going to happen. Saskatchewan's, they're starting to pull it off here. But if Darian Durant does not play, Drew Willie will be in there. Charleston Hughes will beat the hell out of him. That Rider offense just won't know what's coming to him. John Cornish is going to run all over the Saskatchewan defense. It's going to happen. Calgary over Saskatchewan. Mark it. And the gold pick, the San Francisco 49ers will beat Adrian Peterson and the Minnesota Vikings. San Fran, like I said, is the NFC #1 contender right now. They will be most likely going to the Super Bowl if they continue to play like this. Minnesota, they lost to Minnesota to Indianapolis last week, and I see that 1 and 2 coming their way. San Fran will destroy Minnesota. Those are my 4 picks of the week. We're gonna go with that. Market. So UFC 152 goes down Saturday, September 22nd at the Air Canada Center in Toronto. This will be a great fight card. Expect it to be. The only reason it is a great fight card, though, is because of the UFC 151 cancellation. And the headliner of this fight was supposed to be at 151, but we'll get to that later. So, a couple of the good fights on the undercard. Kyle Noak versus Charlie Brennerman. It's the opening fight of the whole evening. It's at a welterweight. 2 names that should be higher up on the card, but if you want to start off a card right, these are 2 guys that are going to get it done. Expect a big, flashy bout between these 2 guys. It's going to be great. The other one is TJ Grant versus Evan Dunham. This is a good Canadian and TJ Grant going up against the great American and Evan Dunham. This is going to be a great lightweight fight. That's all I really got to say. TJ Grant, he's my boy. Canadian, let's get it done. Other notable names on the undercard include Sean Pearson. He's going up against Lance Boyest at welterweight. Sean Pearson is a great welterweight fighter. He's not a top 10 welterweight at all, but he is a great guy to watch fight. Always brings an exciting fight in his thing. Seth Baksian, I don't know how to say his name, but he was on The Ultimate Fighter a while back there with Court McGee winning. So, I mean, Seth Banaksky, let's say it that way. I really don't like saying this guy's name. He's going up against Simon Thorson. It's also a welterweight fight. So, another great fight that could be in the making, but I don't see this going Seth's way. This guy's coming in on his first UFC fight, and he could win. Mitch Gagnon, he's falling against Wally Watson at a bantamweight. Mitch Gagnon did fight at UFC 149 in Calgary. Poster right there. Was that there? Mitch Gagnon won that fight. Look for him to continue. Canadian boy. Let's keep going with the Canadians. And now to the main fight card. Starts off with Club Swanson versus Charles Oliveira at a catchweight of 146 pounds and 4 ounces. The reason it's catchweight is because Oliveira did not weigh in properly at the weigh-ins. It was supposed to be a featherweight bout, but because of the Oliveira thing, it's not going to go down. So because Oliveira did not weigh in properly, I got to go with Swanson. Usually when a guy does not weigh in properly, he is overweight, they come in sluggish, they don't fight well. This is going to happen. Club Swanson will win this fight without a doubt. The other next fight, Matt Hamill versus Roger Holley. Holley is a Canadian fighter. It's his UFC debut. This is going to be a light heavyweight fighter. Matt Hamill, he might be deaf, but this guy has got some crazy skill. I don't like his win over John Jones, but that's another story. I don't really like the guy, but I gotta give him respect for being deaf and being in the UFC. He's just about to crack that top 10 light heavyweight ranking. And if he beats this guy and beats another guy, he could easily be in that top 10 standing. The third fight, and it really starts. This is when it really starts to get good fights. We have Michael Bisping versus Brian Stann. Michael Bisping, the Count. He's one of my favorite fighters. I really hope he wins this fight. He's going up against the All-American, the Soldier, Brian Stann. This guy I got mad respect for. For him being a part of the fight over in Iraq, and now he's living his dream of being a UFC fighter. Mad respect for Brian Stann. But the Count wins this fight. He will probably face Weidman. I can't remember Weidman's first name. I feel like a terrible UFC fan for not knowing that. I'm sorry, guys. That's terrible on me. But anyway, whoever wins this fight will probably be the number one contender, and will face Weidman for the number one contender, I should say. Because if GSP wins his next fight, sounds like there will be a super fight between GSP and Silva on Super Bowl weekend, and that would be crazy. So again, that pushes that back. So Weidman versus Bisping, or Weidman versus Stann, that will happen, but it will be Bisping. Michael Bisping will move on. Finally, in the co-main event, we got Joseph Benavidez versus Demetrius Johnson for the first ever UFC flyweight title. If you don't know what flyweight is, think of 125-pound dudes fighting. Yeah, that's what flyweight is. These guys are short, they're tiny. I wouldn't want to fight them anyway. I know I'm a big guy, but I wouldn't want to fight these small little guys. They still have a pack a punch, and Joseph Benavidez is one of the best of them. This guy will easily win the fight over Demetrius Johnson. I love Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson. He's a great fighter too, but Joseph Benavidez is easily one of the best pound-for-pound fighters. Even though he's only 125 pounds, he could easily go up against a guy like Uriah Faber, Dominic Cruz, and easily have a great super fight with one of those guys. So Joseph Benavidez will be the first ever UFC flyweight title, and it will be a great fight to watch. Keep an eye out for that co-main event. It could easily be fight of the night. And finally, we get to the main event. The UFC light heavyweight title is on the line. Jon Jones versus Vitor Belfort. This match was supposed to be Jones was supposed to be defending his card at UFC 151, or otherwise known as the canceled card. He was supposed to defend it against Dan Henderson, but because Henderson pulled out with a knee injury, now we have this fight going on. We will have Jones versus Belfort. It was supposed to be Jones versus Machida, then Jones versus Rua, but we'll get Jones versus Belfort. Belfort is usually a middleweight. He was supposed to fight at middleweight at UFC 153, but he moved up to take this fight it for a possible championship. I'd take that if I was in the UFC and a top fighter. Chance at a championship, that's something I would take without a doubt. Jones versus Belfort, it's going to be a great fight, but Jones will come out on top. Belfort's a small light heavyweight. He's more of a set for a middleweight kind of guy. He has won heavyweight and light heavyweight tournament and titles, but that was before MMA really got mainstream, really got popular in between everybody. So Jon Jones, 10-inch reach advantage. This will be an easily knockout of the night on Vitor Belfort. Second round, it's going to happen. UFC light heavyweight champion once again, Jon Jones. Even though he is a bitch for backing down for Chael Sonnen, but that's something else. He will retain. He will go on. He will face Machida or Rua or Sonnen later down the road, but Jon Jones will retain his UFC light heavyweight championship at UFC 152 in Toronto. So that's the end of this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give a like. If you want to think I'm wrong with any of my predictions, if you think the lockout's going to end sooner than that, if you think it's going to end up, want your comments down below. Please subscribe to my channel, Coach Swankmeister. I will be putting out videos every week, either a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. We'll see how that goes. And, as always, stay classy, everyone. Coach Swanky, out.